Today, we're diving into something really fascinating: Rome's secret soldier cult. We're journeying back in time, right to the shadowy frontiers of the Roman Empire, to uncover a faith that was absolutely shrouded in mystery, a cult that, really captured the hearts of Rome's toughest soldiers.
So let's just jump right into the big question. Imagine this. You're on the very edge of the Roman Empire. It's cold, it's dangerous, and it's crawling with legions. But behind closed doors, or really underground, these same soldiers were sharing a massive secret. They were worshiping a powerful, enigmatic god in hidden temples. So the real question for us is, who was he? And what was this secret faith really all about?
All right, so here's how we're going to crack this thing. We're going to follow the clues piece by piece. First, we'll figure out what this secret cult actually was. Then, we'll meet the god at the center of it all. We'll look at why it was so popular with soldiers, dig into the actual physical evidence, and finally, try to solve the mystery of why it just disappeared.
And just so you know where we're getting our intel, our whole investigation is based on this incredible research report. It pulls together all the archaeological and historical evidence right from the cult's heartland in Roman Germany. This is basically our guide for piecing the whole story together.
Okay, Section 1. Let's start with the basics. First things first, what exactly was this secret cult?
Okay, so the official name for it is Mithraism. And you got to understand, this was not your typical Roman religion. This wasn't like worshiping Jupiter out in the open. No, it was a mystery religion, which means all its core beliefs, its rituals, they were kept secret, revealed only to those who were initiated. And it wasn't just some flash in the pan. It flourished for about 300 years, right at the peak of the Roman Empire's power.
And here's what's so wild about it. The whole structure of the cult basically mirrored a soldier's life. I mean, think about it. It was an exclusive, men's-only club. It demanded absolute loyalty and total secrecy. This created this incredibly intense sense of brotherhood. Plus, it had this strict, tiered hierarchy that would have felt completely normal to any guy in a Roman legion. It was pretty much a spiritual version of the military chain of command.
So if it was a spiritual chain of command, who was at the very top? Let's get into the deity at the center of it all, this god who was supposedly born from rock.
So Mithras is interesting because he wasn't, a purely Roman creation. He was what scholars call a syncretic god. All that really means is he was a mashup, a blend of different cultures. His roots go way back to ancient Persia, but his whole identity got remixed for the Roman world. The result was this deity that felt kind of familiar to people from all over the empire.
And his followers, they had this absolutely epic title for him: Dios Sol Invictus Mithras, the unconquerable sun god. I mean, just think about that for a second. You can totally see the appeal, right? If your life is all about chaos and the constant threat of death on the frontier, the idea of worshiping someone unconquerable, that's going to be incredibly powerful.
Okay, so we've got an unconquerable god. We've got a secret brotherhood of loyal men. But where did this faith really take root and thrive? Well, as it turns out, it was in one of the most dangerous places in the entire Roman world.
Yeah, we're talking about the Limes Germanicus. This was the heavily fortified border of the Roman Empire in what's now Germany. This was literally the edge of their world, a line of forts, walls, all designed to hold back the so-called barbarian tribes. It was a place defined by constant tension, brutal discipline, and of course, military life.
And our source document for this explainer. It's a modern Turkish research paper, and it is incredibly direct on this point. It describes Mithraism as in askeri bir din. That just translates to a military religion. So this wasn't just a religion that some soldiers happened to like. No, its very core, its whole essence was military.
So you have to ask, why was it such a perfect fit? Well, just think it through. It was all about brotherhood and loyalty, perfect for reinforcing the bonds between soldiers who had to trust each other with their lives. The strict hierarchy, that's exactly like the military's chain of command. In a world of total chaos on the frontier, it offered a sense of order. And to top it all off, they were worshiping a divine, unconquerable commander. It was literally their entire professional life, but spiritualized.
Now, while it was definitely dominated by soldiers, it wasn't exclusively for them. The faith also attracted other guys whose lives were shaped by that same frontier discipline. People like merchants, customs officials, the guys who worked right alongside the military. You could almost call it a brotherhood of the border.
Okay, but if this whole thing was so secretive, how on earth do we know anything about it? I mean, where's the proof? Well, the answer isn't in any ancient books or scrolls.
It's literally buried in the ground beneath our feet.
See, the followers of Mithras, they didn't write anything down. No scriptures, no holy books. All their secrets were passed down orally. So that means pretty much everything we know, our entire investigation, comes from what archaeologists have physically dug out of the earth. We're basically solving this mystery with shovels and brushes, not ancient texts.
And the biggest clue of all? It's something called a Mithraeum. This was their secret underground temple. They were often built to look like a cave because legend said Mithras was born from a rock. This was the spot. This is where all the secret initiations and sacred rituals went down. And we're not talking about just one or two. I mean, archaeologists have found hundreds of Mithraic sites and artifacts, reliefs, inscriptions, entire temples, all clustered right along that old German frontier. This is the hard evidence, the proof of just how widespread and important this secret religion really was.
But like all things, it couldn't last forever. After centuries of secret worship in underground caves, the light of the unconquerable sun god, well, it started to fade. So what happened? Why did it disappear? This timeline really tells the story. Okay, so it pops up in the 1st century CE. Then, in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, it hits its absolute peak of popularity, especially in the army. And that's no coincidence. That's when the Roman military was at its strongest. But then you get to the 4th century and boom, it just falls off a cliff.
And the reason why is actually pretty straightforward. Competition. A new religion was on the rise, Christianity. As it went from being the small, persecuted group to the official state religion of the entire Roman Empire, there just wasn't room for other faiths anymore, especially a secretive one, like Mithraism. The underground temples, the Mithraea, were abandoned, many were filled in, and they were just forgotten for over 1,000 years, with all their secrets buried inside.
So that really brings our investigation to a close. The cult of Mithras is long gone, but it leaves us with this final thought, right? We've unearthed the secrets of a faith that gave men order, brotherhood, and purpose on the dangerous edge of their world. But the human desire for that stuff, for secret societies, for elite brotherhoods, that haven't gone anywhere. It makes you wonder, where do we see those same impulses today? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.